Thanks to the support as a channel member, A11 Scorpio 1996. Well, I broke Neymar. Hello and welcome to part 27 of my FM21 Save with Leicester. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we're going to have a look at the World Cup that has now completed, and then we've got to play Real Madrid in the first knockout round of the Champions League. So easy tie, isn't it? Nice easy tie, especially considering we've got to do it without Neymar, who's broken his leg and is out for the rest of the season. Not only does Neymar have a broken leg, before he broke his leg, in my infinite wisdom, I thought it was a good idea to loan out both Timo Werner and Harvey Barnes. So we only have one left winger at the... Oh, and I sold Divock Origi. James Maddison is the only fit player at the club who can play on the left-hand side of midfield now, unless we move either Neres or Dembele over there. But yeah, we've spent January trying to balance the books a little bit with getting some players out who we weren't using or who weren't happy. So, as mentioned, Origi went to Juventus for £34.5 million. That is a big transfer profit on Divock Origi for a player who was never more than the backup for us. But as you can see, he started quite well at Juventus, 2 goals from his first 3 games there. We also sold Soyuncu to Juventus, who was made club captain in the summer to try and make him happy. It didn't. He wanted to play regularly, was never going to get in the team on a regular basis past Romagnoli and Luis Felipe. So we sold him to Juventus for £33 million. Again, big transfer profit on him for a player as a backup player. To replace him, we've recalled Fofana from his loan. So finally, Wesley Fofana has made his Leicester debut in this series. But then as the window drew to a close, like I say, both Werner and Barnes wanted loan time. So Timo Werner's gone to Paris Saint-Germain. They've agreed to pay all of his wages for the rest of the season. So he's gone there and is scoring goals. He'd be in the team now if he was still with us. Likewise, Harvey Barnes, who's gone on loan to Barcelona until the end of the season. They obviously remember what he did to them in the Super Cup last year. And they're paying all of his wages. And again, he's gone straight into their team, or straight into their squad anyway. Played almost as many games in 3 weeks for Barcelona as he did in the first half of the season for us. But again, with the injury to Neymar, would now be in our team. That sort of stuff aside, the season is still going reasonably well. We had a little bit of a wobble around the end of January, losing to Tottenham and Arsenal and drawing against Liverpool. But we've since followed that up with victories over Manchester United and Chelsea. And we are currently top of the Premier League, 25 games in, 60 points on the board. We're 3 points clear of United, 6 points clear of Chelsea with a game in hand over them. So the season's going quite well, but it could very much take a turn now, because obviously the goal for this year is win the Champions League, and we've got to play Real Madrid with an absolute skeleton squad, having lost 4 first-team squad members. Yeah, we've added Fofana back into the squad, and Champions League squad-wise, Castagna and who was the other one who wasn't in the squad? There were 2 people who weren't in the Champions League squad. Everyone who's here is now in the Champions League squad, and Fofana's been added. So the Champions League squad hasn't been massively weakened by transfers, but obviously losing Neymar plus 3 other left wingers is kind of a big deal. At least we get to play Dembele now. But before we get into any of that stuff, I asked yesterday if you wanted to see the World Cup. The majority of comments that I've seen as I'm recording this said yes. I'm not going to do a whole video on it because I didn't have time. I needed to get the in-betweeny bits played. As you saw, I played a lot of matches, but we'll have a quick look at what happened in the World Cup. As you can see, it's a World Cup that had a Uruguay-Switzerland final. So definitely an interesting World Cup. Let's see how it ended up in that situation. So we'll go through the groups. We're not going to go through this in huge detail. We'll go through the groups each round, have a look at the team of the tournament, the top scorer, that kind of thing, and try and work out what's gone on, because Colombia and Switzerland through that group, with Scotland and Qatar getting knocked out. Belgium and Chile through that group. Argentina and Croatia. There's no real surprises so far. This is a bit of a group of death. Portugal, Brazil and Holland in the same group. Egypt were always going to struggle, but they've finished on a 3-way 6-point tie, with Brazil and Holland actually level on goal difference as well. So presumably that's their head-to-head score that's let Brazil get through, with the Netherlands being eliminated from the tournament. Italy and Mexico through in that group. Again, no real surprises. Uruguay, the ultimate winners, finishing level on points with England in Group F. You can just hear all the England fans now talking about how they're the rightful World Cup winners. Let's see what happened to England. Big shock here, though, in Group G, where Germany topping the group on 9 points, but Spain getting eliminated on only 2 points, with Ivory Coast sneaking through ahead of them. The USA also in that group, again finishing on 2 points. And then the last group, France and Norway making it through, with Senegal and Japan getting knocked out. So let's have a look at what happened in the second round. So Chile knocked out Colombia, Switzerland knocking out Belgium, Argentina against Brazil, with Argentina proving victorious there. Croatia knocking out Portugal on penalties. England think they're winning the World Cup at this point. A 3-1 win over Italy to knock Italy out. Uruguay getting past Mexico on penalties. Uruguay won this thing. They're not looking all dominant and all conquering at the moment, are they? Norway knocking out Germany after extra time, and France eliminating the Ivory Coast, which brings us into the quarterfinal, where Croatia comfortably beating Chile. Massive shock seeing Switzerland beat Argentina 2-0 to book a semi-final spot. England getting knocked out by France 2-1, and Uruguay sneaking past Norway with a 1-0 win. Did Uruguay have a difficult game at any point? Or is Uruguay going to have an asterisk next to their name in this World Cup win forever? Semi-final wise, Uruguay knocking out Croatia on penalties. Come on, Uruguay. Goodness me. Switzerland knocking out France after extra time. And then in the final, in fact, third place playoff, France beating Croatia. And in the final, it's Uruguay beating Switzerland. We've gone too far in the future. We can't look at the actual match, but beating Switzerland 2-1. Uruguay never winning a game by more than 1 goal. Finishing level on points with England, needing extra times and penalties all the way through. But Uruguay are the world champions. Is that the third time in their history they've won the World Cup? Yeah, third time that Uruguay have won the World Cup. Let's have a look at the awards. These are the World Best Player Awards. I wanted the World Cup Awards, not the World Best. Oh no, this is the World Cup Best Player. So Kylian Mbappe, followed by De La Cruz of Uruguay, and Maxi Gomez of Uruguay. So Maxi Gomez, 5 goals from 7 appearances, clearly very important, and lots of assists coming from Nicolas De La Cruz. So I guess they're the boys who've gone on and won it for Uruguay. Best goalkeeper went to Jan Sommer of Switzerland. Best young player, Nuno Mendes of Portugal. The World Cup Dream Team. It doesn't look like our Leicester side have any representatives in this. Do we not have a bench for the World Cup Dream Team? Erling Haaland clearly not having much of a World Cup, and likewise Neymar, who they finished second and third, I think, for Ballon d'Or, with Mbappe winning that as well in the Golden Boot. Golden Boot. Mbappe finishing top scorer with 8 goals from 6 games at the World Cup. Maxi Gomez with those 5 from 7. And Kalen Hines of Jamaica finishing the World Cup with 4 goals from 3 appearances. And this is Kalen Hines, who, if you watch my Twitch save this year, couldn't get into my... I think I had him at Reading. Did I have him at Reading? I'm sure I had Kalen Hines at Reading. Couldn't get into my Reading team. And he's finished 3rd top scorer at a World Cup. Well, he's scored as many goals in the World Cup as he has for Reading this year. Ridiculous. Right, that's the World Cup. Now, let's go and play Real Madrid in the Champions League with this team. As mentioned, no room for Neymar in the team. And the bench is looking a little bit... I mean, it's not that thrown together, but Fofana on the bench. Casey McAteer stepping up onto the bench. Because we've run out of players, letting those other guys go, and then having a variety of suspensions. Felipe and Ndidi are suspended. Neymar obviously is injured. We don't need 2 keepers on the bench, so Kasper Schmeichel still sits out. So this is our team. It does mean a return to the centre of defence for Declan Rice, where he hasn't played all year. Declan Rice, by the way, now Soyuncu has left. He's the new club captain here at Leicester. I mentioned at the start of the year, we're building the team around Declan Rice. If he puts in a match-winning performance today away from home against Real Madrid, my decision is justified. So we're going with Donnarumma in goal, a back 4 of Grimaldo, Rice, Romagnoli and Castagna. Sanchez at the base of the midfield with Valverde and Aouar ahead of him. Aouar's been in fantastic form recently and has actually forced Sanchez out of the team in that Mazzala role. Lots of very good performance, match-winning goals against Manchester United and Chelsea. That's why he gets the nod in the Mazzala role, with Sanchez having to play deep. And then we're going with Dembele on the left, Neres on the right, and Erling Haaland, of course, up front. We do have a couple of good options off the bench. Pereira, Maddison, Belotti are all players you'd fancy to come on and potentially change a game. The other three, less so. They're there because we need subs and we might get an injury in their position. But that's about the only reason the other guys are there. Looking back, I wish I'd have kept Timo Werner or Harvey Barnes. I'm comfortable letting Origi go. But really, even keeping both of them, if we'd have had Barnes and Werner on that bench as well, I'd be feeling a lot more confident than I am right now. But let's see how we get on. We are away from home against Real Madrid, and I'm afraid because the whole series kind of rests on this a little bit. So we need to put in a performance. Grimaldo with the corner early on, and it's Valverde who was the one trying to get onto the end of it. And it falls to Renato Sanchez. Rice, who needs to get back into position at centre-back. He needs to remember that's where he plays now. And he doesn't seem to be retreating particularly quickly. It falls to Sanchez, Haaland, Neres back into Erling Haaland. And that's a big chance with less than 3 minutes on the clock for Haaland. If he puts us ahead there, all of a sudden it changes the entire complexion of the tie. But you'd back him to at least test the goalkeeper, but it goes over. And I hope that's not our chance for the game, falling to Erling Haaland. Looking at XG, it wasn't as good a chance as I think it looked like, I guess, but it looked like a real opportunity for Erling Haaland, and he fluffed his lines a little bit there. Half an hour gone, still 0-0. We'd be very happy with a 0-0 today. Hopefully we'll get a couple of those suspensions at least back for the second leg. But as always, away game, just a draw. A 1-1 would be perfect because then we pick up an away goal. But a 0-0 is never going to be a bad result away from home against Real Madrid, especially when you remember that we're Leicester. 0-0 at half time. Got to be happy. I don't want to outstretch my arms because that's me praising. I don't really want to praise them. I might just do a no gesture. I'm happy with your performance so far. There you go. That's inspired them. Sometimes you can just stand there and talk. You don't need to always be waving your arms around, boys and girls. Gestures, not always necessary. We didn't always use the tone of voice before, did we? Clearly the Amazon delivery guy, not realising that I'm trying to play a game against Real Madrid, jangling my doorbell. This is the problem with trying to record videos in December. The doorbell's forever going with Christmas shopping. Right, Declan Rice, playing it forward to our. It's Sanchez to Valverde, back to Romagnoli. This could be the highlight, boys and girls. Neres, ball over the top for Haaland. He's in again here, but he's taking it a little bit too wide and given the ball away. Belotti needs to get out warming up, I think. Erling Haaland, for whatever reason, not really having much of an impact today. Valverde, ball over the top, looking for the runner. I think that's our charging forward, and that is how he's scoring his goals. I'm showing my age a little bit here, but he's been playing recently like a modern-day David Platt. Constant runs out of that midfield, and he's such a threat with those late runs. But Real Madrid are in here, and luckily it's a very tame effort that Donnarumma deals with relatively comfortably, but it is substitute o'clock, and Haaland is definitely going to be one of those coming off, as is Dembele. They're the two substitutions, or certainly the two substitutes I had in mind before the game, and this is very, very close now to last season's team. I guess the only player who wasn't here last year when we won the league is Valverde, and Valverde, of course, has just settled in as if he's been here forever, and is kind of just the replacement in the squad for Yuri Tielemans, who, of course, is now linking up with Timo Werner at Paris Saint-Germain, although they never actually played together for us. So they're still meeting for the first time. They're probably not meeting for the first time. Right, I guess we may as well bring on Ricardo Pereira with 10 minutes to go. You never know what he might do down that right-hand side. He's always a bit of a threat. But like I say, I'm not pushing too hard. I'm not demanding more. I'm not trying to fire them up. I'm just happy to draw this game because a draw is fantastic away against Real Madrid. And with hopefully a stronger team available to us in the second leg with the return of Luis Felipe, allowing Declan Rice to play a little bit further forward, allowing Renato Sanchez to play a little bit further forward. That's filled me with a little bit of confidence, but Romagnoli is going to be suspended, so actually the defence just pretty much stays the same. We just swap Felipe in for Romagnoli. Terrific. So the next episode, which this will be Sunday's episode, as promised, bonus weekend episode for you this week. So on Sunday, in the 4 o'clock slot, because remember, non-league to legend is 11 at weekend, so 4 o'clock Sunday, we'll have the second leg against Real Madrid and a very important away game in the Premier League against Chelsea. That episode can very much make or break our season. If we get knocked out, we'll be doing another year. What are your thoughts? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.